Next up, my favorite from last year. Yay! All right, starting off. How many of you guys have seen Gurren Lagann all the way through?
Oh yeah!
Not all of you. Shame.
I haven't seen all of
Go
them.
see Gurren Lagann.
Calm down.
This is going to be a clip from the last episode. It's not spoilerific. Basically, every further or point you get in Gurren Lagann, things get bigger. It's very manly. So, at the very end, they end up with a mecha that's rather large. This is zooming out, showing scale. Starts off on a planet. You see the orbits of the planets. It zooms out. Oh my god, it's a galaxy! Bum, bum, bum!
Oh my god!
It's the last piece.
Take it up and Gurren Lagann!
I call overkill.
Anybody remember my part on Swords and Torque last year? I had that title at the top, compensating. Freudian. Alright, so we got this mech that is very large. It's like close to the scale of a galaxy. If I counted the pixels on here last year, it turns out it's about 1/10 the length of the galaxy. So let's start scaling up something that we know amounts of elements and stuff in. I started with the car, and what I wanted to ask with this is, how many galaxies would you have to cannibalize to make something that freaking big? This is some kind of giant robot thing. It's probably going to have some iron or steel or something in it. So we need to start with something we know. How about a car? So I just made some estimates here, rounded off in nice even numbers just to work with. I'm not trying to be super specific because, what? Galaxies aren't all the same size, so I can't really say just how big that was. So I started off with the car, I made some estimates on that. Then again, cars are not all the same size either. So I estimated the length of a car being about 5 meters, length of a galaxy, 100,000 light years! That means a galaxy is 2 times 10 to the 20th times the length of a car. For those of you that aren't good with scientific notation, that means a 2 followed by 20 zeros. That's a billion, thousand?
Trillion?
No, it's a lot, but
yeah.
it's big. So, as I said last year, and I continue to say this year, if you don't understand all this, here's the summary version of it. Cars are little, galaxies are big. You do the same thing for the height and the width, and we're still getting these kind of relative ratios. And what I did is I used these ratios to kind of build a 3-dimensional box in my head that would be the size of Gurren Lagann there. So, scale it up, and now that I have this kind of scale-up factor, I need to multiply that by the amount of material in a car. So, a car, this is the overall thing, galaxy is 2.1 times 10 to the 58 zeros times the size of a car.
The volume of the galaxy?
Yes,
yeah.
volume. Alright, because I did it in 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the car contains 770 kilograms of steel. Steel is 95% iron. Let's worry about just iron to make this simple. So that's 730 kilograms of iron. For those of you that don't speak kilogram easy, kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So multiply that by roughly 2, so you'd have a little over 1,400 pounds of steel in a car. Multiply that by something with 58 zeros after it. What do you think happens?
You're on.
Migraine.
Now we get something 1.5 times 10 to the 61. So 1.5 followed by 61 zeros. Well, you have to move the decimal point. So it's 15 followed by 60 zeros of kilogram of iron necessary. That's a lot.
And that's if you cheap out and go with steel for something that big.
Yeah, how are we going to approach this? All right. So let's compare that to the mass of a normal spiral galaxy like our own. The mass of a normal spiral galaxy is 1.9 times 10 to the 43rd kilograms. Let's see. We're only off by, 18 orders of magnitude. That means, a 1 followed by 18 zeros. We have to multiply this by 1 followed by 18 zeros to get to that. But then again, let's consider something else. So that means it would take 7.9 times 10 to the 17th galaxies just to make the same mass.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can even approach that. All right, in 1999, Hubble did a survey called the Ultra Deep Field. Basically what it did is it pointed at what they thought was an empty part of the sky just to see if they could find anything there if they just left the shutter open on the camera for a really long time. They did. For several days, they just stared at this one part of the sky, and what they found is it's filled with galaxies. Every single thing you see in this picture here is a galaxy at the edge of the visible universe, like 13 billion light years away. Freaking old galaxies. So this is a portion of the sky. If you held up a dime at arm's length, the size of this kind of portion of the sky that Hubble took a picture of is the size of the president's eye on a dime held at arm's length. So what they can do is they can take this and figure out, okay, this covers this much percent of the sky, so if we multiplied it across the entire sky, and there's a certain number of galaxies in here, you can estimate roughly how many galaxies are in the universe. Hubble came up with the idea that roughly in the visible universe there's 1.25 times 10 to the 11th galaxies in the universe. If you've already forgotten the last slide, we needed something with 10 to the 17th, so we're off by 6 orders of magnitude, or 1 followed by 6 zeros, which is what, a million? Uh-oh! That means we need 6.3 times 10 to the 6th universes just to make up the same mass. I said it last year and I'll say it again, I'm an astronomer. I am used to dealing with very big units. I deal with units that most people haven't even heard of. People have heard of parsecs thanks to Star Wars. They think it's a unit of time. No, it's a unit of distance. It's the distance light travels in 3.26 years. That's pretty far, but I've dealt with scales of galaxies. I've dealt with oh my gosh, I've never dealt with universes before. What am I going to do? I don't know. And that's just to make the same mass. But wait, there's more! Remember, we were trying to figure out iron. Oh no, iron only makes up about 0.001% the mass of a galaxy, so we need to divide that out. That means it's going to take 6.3 times 10 to the 9th universes to get that much iron. For those of you that have seen Gurren Lagann, they were worried about the spiral nemesis. That's not the problem. It's the damn spiral warriors cannibalizing universes to make the freaking mechs. Uh-oh. This is busted. That ain't gonna work.